All right, so how many of you out there who are watching this video today are actually trading using prop firms accounts? You're trying to pass an evaluation or challenge to become funded to where you can start taking withdrawals or deposits, consistently. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But today I want to talk about, when we weigh our options in terms of the prop firm versus a personal trading account, which one is actually better? Which one is really worth it? Should you place more emphasis on trading with the prop firms because they are maybe a safer bet versus trading with your own personal capital? Today, let's talk about some of the rules because that's the most important part when it comes to trading with the prop firms. They've got a system of guidelines or rules that you have to actually follow outside of your own trading plan. So this could be a pro, this could be a con for a lot of you out there. But before we get into the actual rules, kind of just on a general basis and talking about some of these prop firms, I'm not going to be dropping names as specific, just kind of the general basis and of rules and guidelines that a lot of these companies do have in place, making it either, I'd say, tougher for you to pass them, but at the same sense, it also helps because they can be great tools and seeing how consistent you are or can lead up to be when it comes to trading. All right. So I like to know down below, drop a comment down in the description. Down in the comment section for anyone out there. How many are trading using prop firms? Who is trading using, a personal brokerage account? And, what company, if you're trading with a personal brokerage account, who are you using? And if you're trading with a prop firm, who are you using as well? Just want to kind of see, based on just percentages, and don't be shy. Just leave a comment down below to see, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the prop firm over the actual, your own personal brokerage account? And reasoning, why? Why do you choose to go with a prop firm versus a, trading with your own capital? I know there's probably a lot of different reasons why for different people out there. But let's talk about some of these rules today that can help, maybe make a decision for a lot of you and maybe gearing towards the prop firm, for example, right? Or maybe steering away from the prop firms. A lot of people I've been kind of seeing online that they believe prop firms are a scam, that they're out to get people, they keep you in a vicious cycle of spending money by buying into these evaluations to eventually to where you just have a distasteful, feeling or taste in your mouth about even trading again. The choice can be yours, but I will say this: if you can trade ultimately and understand the basis of trading, and you can trade basically in simulation or demo for a period of time to prove that you can be consistent, then guess what? You can do the same with the prop firms, I would say, but you're just going to have to put the rules into place just as well. Okay, so I'm not kind of leaning one way or the other and let you know, are actually the prop firms better than the actual, trading with your own personal account? I personally have been trading with my own personal account since day one because when I started trading, prop firms didn't exist. And, today, people always ask me, well, why don't you give the prop firms a try? Because I have no need to. I built my account up, and there's reasons why. And the number one reason I'll say for me, for example, is that I don't want to give 20 to 10% of my income away to a company. All right, I want to keep it in my pocket because that 10 or 20% could go to paying bills, paying debt for anyone out there, or it could go into putting into other investments, into savings, things of that nature. I mean, now, if you don't have any capital, that's one thing. But let's jump into those rules right now that we want to talk about surrounding the prop firm. So some of these companies, or a lot of them, have what's called like daily drawdown limits. Okay, it's basically a max loss what you can not exceed. Okay, and that could vary between 3 to 5% of your account balance. Okay, your account balance. So let's say, for example, you have a $100,000 account, and you lose more than, say, for example, $3,000 in a single trading day, okay? What does that do? Well, you're going to fail the actual account, right? So that's one of the rules that some of these companies do have in place. Now, there are also others like the overall drawdown or max loss. That's basically a total loss limit that you can't exceed at any given point, okay? That could be a number in between 6 to 10% of the actual starting balance, okay? So let's say you have a max loss, just for example, of $6,000 on a $100,000 account. Once that equity falls below, say for example, a $94,000 account size, then you breach that account or you failed that actual account. Just throwing that out as an example, okay? But basically, you can't have an overall max drawdown, okay, at any given period in between 6 to 10%. Some of those companies are 6%, some are maybe 7 to 8%. So just whoever you're using as a prop firm, definitely check into that as a rule of thumb, okay? And this includes both open and closed, losses, what I'm trying to say. All right. So take that into consideration, but definitely do your homework when you're looking into these different prop firms to find out, dig deep to find out what their rule sets are, what are their rule bases, to make sure you follow within the guidelines. Because, if you aren't following their consistency rules, if you're not following their max drawdown rules or their daily drawdown limit rules at any given period, leading up to maybe a time in which you're requesting a payout or withdrawal, guess what? A lot of them will automatically place you into denial or into failed phase, okay? To where you've basically blown that account, all right? And you have to start all over from scratch. Now let's talk about profit targets right quick. This is the amount, which is typically somewhere between 5 to 10%, depending on the company. I'm throwing variations out there because each one of these companies are different, these prop firms, when it comes to the certain target of profit that you have to show imbalance of to be able to pass the evaluation, all right? 5 to 10%. So some may require, so if you have a $50,000 account that you purchase, which means that they don't give you $50,000, it's just a percentage of that amount. So on a $50,000 account, maybe there is a $3,000 profit target that you have to actually meet, and that could be what is that, like 5% of that account or less, 4%, whatever it is. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that you have to somewhere between 5 to 10% past that actual challenge of that actual account balance that you actually or size that you're actually purchasing. So if it's $50,000 account, just do the math right quick. Let's say you purchase a $50,000 account, and let's just say times, I think like 6%. That's going to give $3,000. So a lot of them are $3,000 profit targets, which is 6% of $50,000 to be able to pass the evaluation. And you have to show consistency in doing that over that period of time, meaning you cannot go over. They have like a 30% consistency rule, which is going to lead me into the next rule. Basically, the account can't on any single trade go below, say, 30%, okay, of, a lot of them will call it maybe so like a trailing threshold or even a drawdown limit, just depending. But anyways, it's a daily loss. Well, it's not, daily loss limit per trade, okay, which is a 30% consistency rule, which means that you can't fall below 30% or whatever that amount may be. On a $50,000 account, again, it's, let's say that trailing threshold is $2,500, which means that you can't fall or go below $750 on any given trade, single trade. Now, okay, that doesn't mean that once you hit 750 on that first trade that you actually blown that account. You can continue taking trades until you basically hit that trailing threshold limit of, say, $2,500 on a $50,000 account. All right. Now, same thing is they don't want to see you really going over 750. On the plus side of things, when you are basically leading up or making into profits each day over a period of time, to see if you can be consistent, more than, say, for example, 750. If the profit goal is 3,000, they don't want to see you take a one, hit fall of making, say, $3,000 in one particular trade, and then try to take a payout. That's not how it works. You've got to show some consistency, and that's why they place that 30% rule into place. Okay. And like I said, a lot of these companies, these prop firms, they will require you to have a set minimum trading days in place, and that could vary between 3 to 10 trading days, depending on the company that you actually you go with. That could be, they're basically trying to ensure that you're being consistent with your trading behavior or pattern. Okay, they don't want to, like, again, see you just take one good trade and say, and then try to apply for a withdrawal, or even try to hit it in 1 day's time, the profit target, to pass an evaluation. They want to see that you can be consistent. And that's why I believe that, prior to people really switching and gearing over to try to pass an evaluation or challenge, A lot of people, they tend to try to do so right up front using a prop firm and using that as a tool, a training tool to see how well they can be consistent. I think the best way of going about things for consistency is trading in demo and simulation when you're going through the process of basically, understanding and educating yourself. And here on my channel, I provide a great strategy and system of how I personally trade. And the same system that I actually use, a strategy, which is also around supply and demand, lots of people who are part of the Discord community, members that are traders there, use the same actual system and trade with it. There's a testimonial section on our Discord channel, where people are leaving, great feedback and comments, passing evaluations using the same systematic strategy, which I talk about every single day here on this channel. All right. And there's a private community for anyone out there, which I'll talk about in a latter portion of this video, which is very inexpensive, where I go into detail about the blueprint, the cornerstone to the strategy that you could personally use yourself that can help you pass these evaluations. Okay. But I can't guarantee anything to anyone because, listen, who can guarantee anything to anyone out there? All right. Think about it. I mean, it's all about the work you put into it. Okay. The system works, the strategy works. You can ask fellow people or supporters that are part of our Discord community. And they'll let you know how important. Okay. All right, the emphasis in becoming maybe an elite or an ultra elite supporter, where you get that information, where you receive the strategy, we receive my discussions and breakdowns and explanations about trades and market structure and things of that nature. There's a private community where I really go into detail about about the blueprint, the cornerstone, and how I trade. Okay, I'll talk about that here in more so in a minute. Now, leading up to also, let's talk about forbidden trading practices. Like a lot of companies don't want you to be trading around, important news events. Okay. All right. And that's important because, there are a lot of brokers that will even put things into place, even if you have your own personal brokerage account. All right. They will limit or increase the daily, the margins, the trade margins at a certain given period of time just to protect traders as well. And that's another reason why these prop firms put, these news trading practices into place, because they don't want to see people, trying to trade around news for, again, news is coming. They may get lucky and then a trade goes big time in the direction and then they're trying to pass an evaluation real quick. No, so they put things like that into place so you're not violating, certain practices that they actually have. All right. So let's move on also to one other thing I want to talk about as far as rules. Okay. Payout rules. All right. Now, when it comes to this is the part that is one of the top reasons why I don't choose to trade with prop firms, and I never will, because I built up an account over the years, and I personally like trading and having the freedom of trading my own personal account and sticking to my own personal trading plan. The thing about trading, I'll say, is which can be a negative or a con when it comes to using the prop firms, is that you've already made a set of rules for yourself, which is what your trading plan, right? Now, if you got that and what you got to adhere to, and then you got a rule set or base that you have to follow by using these prop firms, then that's a lot to really put into play, into motion, and making sure that I follow the strategy, I follow my own trading plan to use this strategy to fall in line with consistency rules and everything else that comes with all the rules with the prop firms. That can kind of get it can get overloaded. It can get confusing at times. It could be, a lot of weight to carry on your back because now you're having to juggle so many different things. So that's why I choose to just stick with the way I trade with my own capital. And to anyone out there who has passed an evaluation or challenge and is now, taking payouts and maybe have multiple accounts, take a percentage of that, guys, and put it into and open up your own brokerage account. That way, if you choose to stick with the prop firms, you could do so, but there's nothing wrong with having your own personal trading or brokerage account as well. Build both up on both ends. Okay, here it is. Payout rules. I don't like the idea of giving 20 to 10% or even, 10% to 20% away of my profits to someone else. All right. Okay. That's like me having a contractual agreement to where automatically that you're giving, I'll just say it like this, to where I'm having to give away hard-earned money to someone else out there. That 20 to 10% could work in so many other different ways and so many different fashions and favors for myself, and doing so many other things, like I said at the beginning of this video, into high yield savings and investments, okay, annuities, whatever it may be, mutual funds, whatever it may be to help you build your portfolio. That 20 to 10% over time could be money set aside to buy real estate with, okay, pay off your debt, with, student loans, whatever it may be. So I'm just saying that that's the reason why I believe in trying to keep that 20% or 10%. But these are just some of the things that I'm finding that are more common when it comes to, you know, some of the pros and the reasons why people trade or want to trade using the prop firms. I understand they may not have the capital, and they have no problem trying to stick to these rule sets. And a lot of people they do well, you know, trading the prop firms. We have people that are part of the Discord community that do trade using prop firms. Nothing wrong with them. I'm not speaking anything negative about them. I just think that everybody has to find their own edge and way in this trading world. But the number one thing is finding a systematic strategy and way to actually trade. Okay, actually trade out here. And other thing I want to speak on too, which is another rule a lot of these prop firms have. They have what's called the 30% negative P&L rule, or the 30% consistency rule. Okay, which can be impactful. I mean, it could be very detrimental if you think that, you know, you're profiting, but you soon or later find out when it comes to taking a withdrawal that you violated a 30% consistency rule. It simply means that let's say a trader's single best profit day, okay? That day cannot be more than 30% of your accumulated profit since your actual last payout. All right. So let's say, for example, here, I'm gonna show you. So let's say you have a 5-day period in which you can request your next payout. All right, 5 or 10 days, whatever it may be. Okay. And in that period of time, let's say after you pass the evaluation and challenge, let's say your first day you made $500, right? And if you stuck with that being consistent over that period of time leading up to the time when you can take the withdrawal, so that'd be, let's say, $500 divided by 30%, okay? I'm going to have to make or have in profit at least $1,666.66 to be able to take a payout or to be able to request a payout. Now, if I go over, say, for example, $500 anytime during that period of time, meaning that then I can't request $1,666.66. Okay, I'm going to have to wait until let's say, for example, day 1 I made $500, day 2 I made $1,000, right? Well, I've got to go with the higher end of whatever my single best profit day was, okay, and figure out, if I factor that math, to see what is the total amount I would need in profits lead up to that withdrawal amount time or withdrawal day to be able to withdraw from my account. So first day I say I made $500. Second day I made $1,000. Well, then $1,000, divided by 30% now means that I'm going to have to have at least $3,333.33 to be able to request a payout. Okay, so that's why you want to kind of have the best thing to do when it comes to trading these accounts, I believe, is to be strategic in the way that you're actually trading. Is like not have a big day, small day, big day. Trying to stay consistent with an equal amounts of leading up to your actual payouts. Okay, so that's what you really want to do. But you got to understand as well, there are withdrawal limits for each one of these prop firms depending on the account size as well. But yeah, that's one thing. Your single best day in trading leading up to your withdrawal cannot be 30%, cannot be more than 30%, okay, of the total accumulated profits since the last payout. Understand that, okay? All right. Again, so if you say that I made $1,000 coming into, day 1, all right, after my last payout, all right, divided by 30%, I'm going to have $3,333.33 in my account to request a payout. That's the amount I'm going to need to build that account size up to before I can request a payout, is what I'm trying to say. So 5 days, over that 5-day period, I've got to work that account and build it up to $3,333.33 before I can actually request an actual payout. But again, these are just general rules, across the board that are a compilation of rule sets or bases, that on average, a lot of these companies, kind of rules they put in place. And it could be, practices could be different from one company to the next. So just make sure you do your homework when you're looking at these variety of different companies or prop firms out here that you may be looking to try to, go with or use or sign up for. and pass an evaluation challenge, so you can possibly start trading. A lot of people don't have the capital to start trading. I understand their own, or open up their own brokerage account. But once you do, if you do pass them, you know how to trade the correct way, and then, you're making money, being able to take deposits and withdrawals from these prop firms. Guess what? Start your own brokerage account. Open up and apply for your own account just as well, just to have it, okay? Because you can build multiple accounts that way as well. Brokerage and your prop firm and things of that nature, okay? Now, when it comes to, I want to talk about, becoming an elite and ultra elite supporter. The reason why is because that's where the strategy and how I personally trade using range bar charts, okay? And I don't use time charts or time-based charts, tick volume. Supply and demand is universal. You could trade it on any particular chart. It's just understanding certain key elements or concepts like market structure that I always talk about, because that's a very important concept. You got to master that. You got to master the structure of the market to be able to trade it correctly, right? So with that to say, if you become like an ultra elite supporter of the channel, it's only $6.99 a month. That's it. Very inexpensive, but you get so much value, added value in becoming a supporter, I would say, I guess depending on the person, but no one has complained. I've always seen nothing but great comments and feedback, and people dropping me DMs and leaving feedback on through the YouTube, talking about their experience and why they became a member to support the channel either as an elite or ultra elite. Because with the elite supporter membership, what you're receiving are all my trade breakdown videos. These are trades that I post over on the Discord community, and then I break them down in detail for the private community, for the elite and the ultra elite supporters. I talk about market structure, price action. I talk about stop loss and profit target areas, so that you understand the premise, the idea, the mindset behind each one of these trades, so that when you're looking for setups yourself, you could grasp the setups that I'm taking and look for similar ones. But the biggest thing, like I said, is understanding market structure, because when I'm breaking these trades down, I'm breaking everything down so that you understand, the from top to bottom why I took that trade. But you also receive my video playlist and the great video that I cover surrounding market structure for anyone that is struggling with that concept. All right, that's what you receive if you become an elite supporter of the channel. Again, it's only $6.99 a month. Break that down by the day. That's very inexpensive. It's only pennies on the dollar a day. Now, if you choose to become an ultra elite supporter, you receive everything I just stated. When becoming an elite supporter, and ultra elite supporters receive the trade breakdowns, the video playlist, the market structure video, and all the great videos surrounding my live recorded trading sessions. That's where, like today, I recorded my session that I was actually trading, and I will post that, or actually I have already done so, posted that video so that all those ultra elite supporters can watch my full-on session. It helps because most people are visual learners, and they can simply, by me talking, because that's what I'm talking to, as I'm making these recordings and recording my sessions, I'm talking to all the traders out there who are part of this actual community. So first and foremost, become a Discord member, all right? Secondly, if you take interest in becoming an elite or an ultra elite supporter, the link is down in the description portion of the video. It's titled Ultra Elite Supporter. Once you click on that, wait a few seconds and you'll see a few tiers pop up. You can choose either the elite or the ultra elite by clicking on them, either or. And then when you do, you'll see the perks and rewards that you receive with the price. Okay, very inexpensive. Okay, so outside that, guys, that's really all I have. If you want to become a Discord member, the link is down in the description. But yeah, if you haven't taken time to actually subscribe to the channel, please do so by clicking that sub button. Make sure to turn your post notifications on. Yes, do so you do not miss any of the uploaded content by clicking on the bell. And if you haven't done so already, drop me a like on the video if you found some value in today's video topic surrounding, is it really worth it, to actually trade a prop firm or to use them, or versus using a personal account, or trade both, open shop to both. Open the idea of using both the prop firm and the actual personal account. Now, again, leave comments down below. Let me know if you're using a prop firm, who are you actually using and why are you actually using them? If you're trading with your own personal account, what's the broker you're using? Okay. Outside of that, that's all I have, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.